besides the
Yes,
first?
sir.
Okay, so the only thing that is uncaused is something like God, right? On your view?
Correct. And
Do you also
his
affirm?
attributes and his
Do you,
attributes.
do you also affirm free will?
Yes, sir.
All right, I will debate you on free will then, and it being incompatible with the view that there is only one thing that is uncaused.
Okay. So, are you saying that there's no such thing as free will?
No, I'm saying that free will, at least what I take to be free will, is the notion that your will is free, that is uncaused. Meaning that there is one thing in the universe that is uncaused. Well, that's not free will then.
Actually, it is free will. Would you agree that God is all-powerful? He has all power over every physical thing in the system. He is completely sovereign. That's why he's called Lord over everything in the physical world.
Yeah, I'll grant that for this debate.
No, sir. It's either yes or no. Would you say that that is a true statement, yes or no?
Sure, yes.
Great. So since God is all-powerful, he would be all-powerful over every molecule, every atom, everything that we do, everything that we say, everything that is. God is all-powerful and has all control over it. I just want to make sure we're in agreement.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, omnipotence is fine.
Excellent, sir.
That's not what my claim is. Just to be clear, my claim is that the notion of free will is not compatible with this idea that the only thing that is uncaused is God's will or what God's creation, etc. Otherwise, it's not free. It's not free. I think what happens, that's the claim. That I'm thinking free will here. Free will here means that your will is uncaused.
No, sir. No, sir. You're the only way anything that you have anything at all is because of cause and effect. The reason you have free will is because God caused you to have it. The fact of the matter is, because God is all powerful, because God is sovereign over every molecule in the universe, every atom, and that's 10 to the 80th power just in the visible universe. God's sovereign over every atom, including every atom that consists of you.
Sure.
God is all powerful. And part of that all powerful nature is he gives you the ability to make certain free will choices, not ultimate and not every. You get to make certain free will choices.
Right.
And those certain free will choices are whether or not you obey him.
Hold on. I'm not refuting something like that. So when I'm not saying that free will being uncaused means that God didn't give it to me. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is free will is a power, a capability, something we can do, something that gives us the ability to make a choice to follow God or not follow God. We have that free will.
Where's that come from?
In order to, it doesn't matter where it comes from. That's not the claim.
Actually, it does.
The claim,
that is the claim.
The origin, I'm granting the origin comes from God. What I'm saying is incompatible is that the origin is not relevant here. What's incompatible is that the power to choose based on my will to follow God or not is incompatible with the notion that there's nothing uncaused in the universe. Because in order for me to freely choose to follow God or not, it must be uncaused. That choice must be mine, not caused by God.
That doesn't make any sense whatsoever, because everything in the physical world, I'm sorry, sir, everything in the physical world works under the law of cause and effect. I established this going in by saying that God is the all-powerful creator of the universe that has all power over the system. The system is the universe. He has all control over every molecule, every atom, everything that we do and say. And you agreed with this premise, did you not?
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent.
If everything,
so I'm going to go ahead and lower your volume and just continue, since you want to talk over me now. Since we've agreed to this premise, and so God is all powerful, then the only way that you can have any free will whatsoever is if God allows it. God causes you to have certain free will choices to make. And those cause and effect relationships only comes from the God of cause and effect. I don't know if you weren't paying attention, but that's my entire argument.
So I was paying attention, and here's where I'm saying it's incompatible, right? The idea that all things are a chain of cause and effect created by God, I'm granting. This is determinism, and I would call it something like godly determinism in this case, right? My point is that the power to freely choose something is incompatible with a type of determinism like that. So at best, you have to be a Calvinist where things are predetermined by God. The notion of having a power to freely choose what you do or not do is incompatible with a view of free will.
Actually, no.
With a view of determinism by God.
Actually, God determines everything, and God determines that you will have certain free will choices to make. And
They're
that
not free.
determination, I'm sorry, sir. I'm really done with your conversation. They are free because God determines that you will have it. That is not a Calvinistic mindset, sir. That's a biblical one. Because God says he is the all-powerful lawgiver God. And because he is all-powerful, he determines that you will make certain free will choices. Those are whether you will obey his Torah or not. He even says so. He says, I put before you this day life and death, blessings and curses. And there's a whole chapter in there about the blessings and what will happen if you will do what God says do. God says, I will bless you going in, bless you going out, bless your family, bless your kids. I'll bless your animals. He goes, I'll bless every place your foot lands. That's if you keep the Torah. Now, if you don't keep the Torah, there's a whole chapter in there about that. He goes, I'll curse you going in, curse you going out, curse every place your foot lands. And he says, he knows we're not the sharpest tools in the shed. So he says, choose life. Now, if God did not want to give you free will to choose, he wouldn't tell you to choose. Do you see a problem there?
No, I don't think you're understanding my claim. My claim
I don't
is
think
not,
you understand your claim, sir. Have a nice day.
My claim is not that. Is that the end of the debate?
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, we can go to a vote here, and I'll just let this be my final statement. So my closing statement is this, and if I'm interrupted, I would like a moderator to please ask Mr. Batman to stop over-talking me during my closing statements. So free will is a power to choose what you would do without any cause, meaning there's no biological cause determining your free will. There's no cause in the world, some type of physical determinism determining what you truly freeze. It is what you freely choose. It is a power you have given to you by God, sure, but it is a power that is not contingent on what God determined for you to choose. It is free. In order for that to be free, it must be uncaused. Otherwise, the concept of free will is incoherent. So a coherent view of free will necessitates this power to freely choose, which means there is one thing in the universe uncaused, which directly contradicts the underlying premise that the universe, the only thing uncaused is God. So there are now two things uncaused. Your free will, meaning not that it originated somewhere else, but the power to choose is uncaused. That was what was being conflated by Mr. Batman the whole time. The power to choose is yours. That's what free will means. That's incoherent with the notion that there is nothing uncaused except for God. Those things are incompatible. So if you're going to hold a coherent view of Christianity where there's nothing uncaused except for God, then you must reject free will.
Are you a Christian, sir?
That's my closing statement.
Are you a Christian, sir? That's quite obvious you're not, because that's not the biblical stance of what free will is. God allows you to choose. He wants you to choose life. The fact of the matter is, sir, you set up a straw man argument so you could easily knock it down. That wasn't my argument at all. You agreed to my premise. You agreed to every premise that I put in place that happens to be biblical, and then you walked away from it. I don't know why. Well, actually, I do know why, because your argument makes no sense in the real world in real time. You have what's called a false belief system, sir. You have basically what's called a vain philosophy, a philosophy that's based on what you want to believe rather than what is actually true in the real world in real time. And that's my closing statement. Have a nice day. Repent or perish. Repent and believe the gospel.
Okay. Thank you both.